Hello, my name is Joe Richter. I'm a real estate broker and an associate broker with Keller Williams Realty. I am licensed in California and Oregon. I prepare monthly reports that look at the monthly market trends in 14 communities and market segments I call the Orange County Lifestyle Artery. This artery runs from Newport to Ladera through Irvine and Trabuco Canyon. These reports are available on our website at joe-richter.com under the navigation link Monthly Updates. Each report takes a focused look at a specific community or neighborhood. The goals are 1. To establish and monitor home values, 2. To define the market type as either a seller or buyer's market, and 3. To set up reasonable expectation for days on market, the period from listing to getting an acceptable offer and a signed contract. This report focuses on Ladera Ranch condos and townhouses. It covers the period January 1st, 2020 through April 30th, 2020. The monthly headline for April is New Listing Slip with the Stay-at-Home Order. The blue line in the chart does not show the steep drop-off as often seen in most other communities, but definitely is activity that does not reflect normal for Ladera Ranch condos. The Ladera Ranch condo market is currently a seller's market with 9/10 of a month of inventory. Chapman University defines a buyer's market in Southern California as being 3.5 months or more of inventory. The monitoring of active listings provides insight into trends such as home values and inventory levels. It is a leading indicator. Today there are 13 active listings. There were 14 in our last report 30 days ago. There were 35 new listings over the past 90 days. Of those, 13 are still on the market. There were 8 new listings in April during the stay-at-home order. When we were preparing listing consultations, we try to explain to the sellers that there are really 3 keys to the buying, buying process. That starts with new listings, which represents a willing seller, contracts written, which represents a willing buyer, and closings, which represents the buyer, seller, and the lending institution being able to work together. Currently, new listings are down 28% compared to 2019. Contracts written are dead even with 2019 for the same period, and closings are up 65%, due in a large part to a very strong January, a good February, and a very strong March. As noted earlier, new listings are down 28%. The Ladera condo market slowed in February, as seen in the blue line in the line graph, as soon as the news of the COVID-19 issue was starting to develop. Pay attention to this graph over the next 60 days. It is a leading indicator for contracts and closings. Without new listings, we cannot have contracts. Without contracts, we cannot have closings. On the positive side, first, 2020 started off very strong in Ladera Ranch and the rest of the county. And number 2, Fannie Mae, a major mortgage buyer, is forecasting very strong third and fourth quarters. Next, step 2, contracts written are even with 2019. Both years, 2019 and 2020, had 45 closings at the end of April. Closings will have to slide over the next couple of months because new listings have slowed. We need to pay close attention to the blue line over the next 30 to 60 days. Closings are up 65%, due almost solely to the best January over the last 8 years, a very good February, and a very strong March. Because closings follow contracts by 35 to 40 days, the blue line will remain flat or may drop over the next month or two. If all goes well, time will prove we have flattened out and started to improve by July. That is my prediction. Understandably, perhaps the most important issue to sellers and the most interesting topic of discussion to everyone else in general are home values are always established by the market. The buyers, not the sellers, determine the market. Sellers may have high expectations, but buyers are savvy. In Ladera, condo values are running up 1.6% compared to 2019. Concurrently, what we are seeing is the average current list price for the active listings is $549,000. The range is from $462,000 to $645,000. 90-day closing activity is one of the key metrics used in comparative market analysis, commonly known as CMA. Recent closings are used to suggest market values. The recent closings typically are a look back at a period of between 90 and 180 days, going back 180 days if necessary to get enough data to form an opinion. We use 90 days since we do these reports every 30 days, and seasonality has less distortion on the data. For instance, looking back 6 months at this point would mean we would have November and December data in our assumptions. Totally inappropriate data for the current market. Over the last 90 days, there were 35 homes that closed. 13 of those homes closed below asking price. 6 homes sold at last asking price. 16 homes sold above last asking price. This is a very normal data distribution range for this market segment. Days on market, or DOM as it's commonly called, is a key factor in predicting market activity. It is probably the most key factor, especially in establishing home values and a leading indicator of changes in inventory levels and the potential changes in market types from seller to buyer or vice versa. DOM is the time from activating the listing on the MLS to getting an offer accepted and a purchase contract signed. A normal DOM would be 30 to 45 days. In a slower market, 35 to 50 days. Today, the DOM for all active listings is 42 days. It was 33 days in our last report. We should note that DOM for the closings so far this year is 30 days. The difference between 30 and 42 days is a larger than normal variance. As just mentioned, DOM is the gas for the engine for inventory levels. Inventory levels are the primary determining factor of market type, whether a buyer or seller's market. Chapman University defines a buyer's market here in Southern California as being 3.5 months or more of inventory. The current inventory level of Ladera condos is 9/10 of a month, which is lower than most communities we monitor and fairly common for the Ladera Ranch condo market. But there are 3 other key metrics we need to be monitoring right now to forecast potential shifts in the market. The first is the change from the levels of inventory from a point 90 days ago. We have to understand what inventory levels were 90 days ago and what they are today. Inventory increased 62% from 90 days ago. This is a very large increase. The next thing we need to monitor is year-over-year inventory levels, which are down 58%, also an unusual amount. Normally we would expect to see something in the range of from a -10 to a +10 as being normal for this time of year. We mentioned seasonality in an earlier conversation. To cross-check on seasonality, we look at the month-to-month comparison. In this report, we are looking at April 2020 compared to April 2019 and see another unusual statistic, perhaps the most unusual of all. April 2020 compared to April 2019 is down 62%. That's a large drop for a very productive month. Okay, so that completes our real data analysis and explanation. And by now you must have noticed we crunch a lot of data to present this level of detail. We get this data directly from the MLS via saved searches. Every month we get the same search, the same raw data, and we put it into our proprietary statistical models. No one else has this presentation. We are the only ones that can explain the information to you in this manner. This map displays the data that is in our reports. This is the forward public-facing map, the public information, if you will, that is available. And as part of that save search public-facing information and the map, you also get the actual listing thumbnails. And you can click on any one of these thumbnails and get to the underlying information. Here we have green represents the active, orange represents the pending sales, red represents the closed sales, blue represents the contracts that have been written but contingencies have not been cleared. To prepare the charts and graphs, we have to separate all the different information into various tables. This is a table of the current active listings on the market. This is everything that is on the market at this moment. And this table includes all the closings so far this year. These are the closings from January 1st to April 30th. And we're going to finish with one more bit of detail. This chart shows the value range of the closings. The red dots represent the close prices. Notice how the red dots cluster on the blue trend line. We should point out the red dot represents the close price, the actual close price. The gray dots represent the original list price for the same transaction. If you look, you can see that in many cases there's a gray dot above a red dot. The gray dot is the original list price. Either during negotiations or during the listing the price was lowered to reach the red dot. But prices don't always come down. If you look closely at this chart, you can see probably 7 or 8 examples where the gray dot, the original list price, is below the red dot. In other words, the original asking price was bid up by the market. The buyers determined. In closing, we would like to say thank you for patiently listening. We have tried to make this a high-level explanation of how the market is evolving. If you need help with your real estate needs or just have questions about forbearance or prices or DOM, anything at all, please contact me. The team I work with would love to be of service. Again, thank you very much.